Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was sure to be big, considering the first part's Oscar win in 2019, followed by many people discovering the film on Netflix. The sequel has me torn between feeling it's not a full story, but unable to not appreciate the detailed animation and great moments, including that amazing build-up to the cliffhanger ending. You're listening to Elton Talks. I'm your host Elton, and in this episode, we are talking about Spider Man Across the Spider Verse. Spider Gwen. Though Miles Morales is the lead, the movie is focused more on Gwen. It starts with her, explores her relationship with her dad, and ends with her forming her own band, consisting of new and old favorites. That doesn't mean Miles doesn't have his moments, but it doesn't feel resolved, at least not yet. Gwen also served as the means through which Miles got to the Spider Society. It was hinted that Miles is not part of the Spider Society, and we were led to believe that is just because it's not his turn yet. But when the truth was revealed, it made me appreciate the writing. It was great to see the love interest, who also happens to be superpowered, have a good story while not totally stealing the main lead spotlight. Who's the new guy? The moment Miles entered Mumbai and the music kicked in, I was excited. The scenes delivered, I laughed at the references and Easter eggs. Pavitra is a well designed and likable character. I have holes, done in the right way. The trailer showed us how well Spot could be used for comedy with a little hint to what he could actually do. But the movie beautifully builds the silly character into a terrifying villain who's ready to wreak havoc in the threequel. Spider Society. I love the Spider Society bits, seeing all different kinds of Spider-Man and the live action Easter eggs. This movie gave us so many likable characters who I'd love to see more of. Spider-Bite, Mayday and Peter P. Parker, Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Punk, Pavitra Prabhakar. I just want to see more of these characters. Spider-Man 2099 seems like the villain of the movie, even making the Spider Society feel like an evil organization. But in retrospect, it's more like a civil war situation. Both of them are right from their own perspectives. So it'll be really interesting to see how they resolve this in Beyond the Spider-Verse. Who is Spider-Man? Coming off of the intense scene where Miguel reveals to Miles that he is the original anomaly, and Miles escapes using the machine and tells his mother that he is Spider-Man, only for her to have a not so Miles' mom we know reaction and ask, who is Spider Man? The dialogues and editing leading up to the reveal that Miles was actually sent to Earth 42 was just brilliant. The tension was palpable with stalking foes, the Prowler reveal, Spot arriving in Spider Man Miles' universe, and Gwen forming the band. It almost feels like the Infinity War of the Spider Verse. Beyond the Spider Verse. I couldn't find meaning in the titles. While writing this, it struck me Into the Spider Verse, Miles is introduced to the Spider Verse. Across the Spider Verse, which I originally thought meant different types of Spider Man across universes, but it could actually hint at Miles being transported across the Spider Verse to the wrong dimension, which I hope means that Beyond the Spider Verse will be the ideal Spider Man movie that shows us what Spider Man actually stands for beyond all this, beyond the Spider Verse. Anyways, title breakdowns aside, the ending puts so many possibilities in motion for the trequel, it's definitely going to surprise us. Do Gwen and Miguel know that Miles is in the wrong universe? Will Gwen and her band be there to protect Jeff from the Spot? Will the Prowler work with or against Miles at the end of the day? These all could play out in so many different ways we don't know, and that is really exciting. Everyone keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. Miles Morales' journey through this movie was really relatable. He was longing to be with this found family of spider people who he thought would understand him more than his actual parents, because who knows how they would react when they got to know he was Spider Man. It was great seeing him making those wrong choices to be with and around these spider people. And his journey is definitely not complete, so I'm excited to see where they take it in the next part. Miles looked so great in this movie. His costume looked so great that I'm longing to see him in live action. I know it's not a really good idea, but I really want to see how this character would translate to live action. And who knows, it might actually work out because the Spider-Verse has the best use of the multiverse with No Way Home, Into the Spider-Verse, and Across the Spider-Verse, whereas Marvel and DC have not been able to reach the same level of storytelling and quality with their multiverse stories. Not always. I was never a big fan of Spider Man, even though the Sam Raimi trilogy was one of the first superhero and comic book movies I watched as a child. With No Way Home and Across the Spider-Verse focusing so much on the sacrifice aspect of the character, I'm starting to fall in love with the concept of Spider-Man. In conclusion, Across the Spider-Verse, especially in its first half, feels like a part one of a great story. With great animation and a well executed cliffhanger ending, I hope Beyond the Spider-Verse is able to finish this well set up story with satisfaction. What are your thoughts on the movie? Do you have any theories? Do you think this is the best use of the multiverse in a comic book project till date? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. While we wait for next year to watch Beyond the Spider-Verse to learn about the fate of Miles Morales and the fate of the Spider-Verse, I will see you in the next episode of Elton Talks, and until then, love you 3000.